Prime of strength.
What's up, YouTube? Once again, this is Bill Mack here with Pro Wrestling Unleashed, and today's episode is going to be the SmackDown Live recall for September the 20th, 2016 for SmackDown Live. Each and every day, or every chance I get, I do try to do reports, do result shows, try to do prediction shows, whatever thing, wrestling, pro wrestling, as far as TNA, WWE, whatever, I try to get it all done for you. My friend Bullet B usually does the SmackDown report, but until he gets to it, I'll try to work on it a little bit for you folks. So hope you enjoy. Any of those of you that don't catch SmackDown, that just want a recap of it, and just no nonsense, that's what I try to do. I just give you the matches as they happen, maybe a little opinion here and there, but I don't try to hold you too long, because I don't want to make such a long video. But anyway, get right into it. SmackDown Live, the Blue Brand, as they like to be called. The show opens up with Daniel Bryan. He is out there to talk about having a contract signing for the first time of the SmackDown Women's Championship title defense between the competitors. The champion, Becky Lynch, who was who won the six-pack challenge to become the first ever SmackDown Women's Champion. She will be taking on Alexa Bliss as Alexa Bliss slither her way into getting the #1 contenders matchup. Both ladies come to the ring, and as you would expect, they were basically insulting each other. Alexa Bliss ends up taking the contract, hitting Becky Lynch with it, basically, and then she ended up signing it, and then she ended up taking the table that it was on and flipping it over on top of Becky Lynch. And then when they got to the ramp, Becky ended up attacking Alexa Bliss, and she ended up running into the back. And then Becky ended up signing a contract and posing, having her title in hand. So now it is official. At No Mercy, Becky Lynch will defend her SmackDown Women's title against Alexa Bliss. So we'll see how that match goes. As you know, Becky Lynch deserved that, but we're going to see how Alexa Bliss handles this. She was kind of green, but I think it's going to be a decent matchup. They put on a really good pay-per-view the last time. So at No Mercy, Becky Lynch defends against Alexa Bliss. Up next, we have a #1 contenders title match for the SmackDown Tag Team titles, which your champions, of course, are Heath Slater and Rhino, winning that tournament matchup. And we see that the Usos are taking on the American Alpha. And this was basically, as you know, American Alpha's first matchup since they got injured by the Usos. As you remember, the takedown on them during the tag team title tournament. So this is you have a well-established team in the Usos versus an up-and-coming team of the new era, the American Alphas. I think this is a good idea. You put the Alphas in there with the Usos, which are a veteran team, seasoned tag team. To me, one of the best tag teams as far as tag team-wise. That is strictly a tag team, not just two singles competitors, put together to form one. But Usos, I feel, they're a heel team right now. So I see them basically probably carrying the match as they take on the Usos. So we see that basically, at the beginning of the match, Heath Slater and Rhino are backstage watching the matchup while eating Cheese Whiz and crackers, which apparently is their delicacy now since Heath was so happy to get his contract last week and become an official member of the SmackDown Live roster. So we see both guys backstage watching it. The finish comes down to when the Usos basically get the pin after a double super kick and a top rope splash onto Jason Jordan. And the Usos pose, we see that they will now face at No Mercy Heath Slater and Rhino for the SmackDown Tag Team Championship. So the Usos definitely going to give Heath Slater and Rhino all they can handle at No Mercy. So we're looking at another title match that is going to happen at No Mercy. Up next, we see, of course, a matchup where we have been watching over the last 2 to 3 weeks. Dolph Ziggler taking on, as you remember last week, Ziggler wanted The Miz to give him a fair shot. He felt like he got cheated out of it, which to me, in my opinion of it, and just stating that, is I felt like The Miz dominated the pay-per-view. He dominated Dolph Ziggler in his matchup. Why? I know he's the heel. Maurice helped him out. He got the win to make it as a heel cheats to win. But The Miz, to me, also he dominated that matchup. But we see him giving him another chance. We see that Maurice, once again in this matchup, tried to interfere. She ends up getting thrown out of the match and sent to the back by the referee. So they basically are wanting to show that, she was going to have her hand in it again, but we see that this is going to go down between The Miz and Ziggler without Maurice being by his side. The Miz tried all that he could. It was a back and forth matchup. The Miz ended up trying to take a count out loss. He's like, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to stay out here. He didn't want to get back in the ring. And then we see that Ziggler ended up stopping him, and that the referee was clearing the title belt from the ring, which was brought into the ring to use. And The Miz ended up spraying Ziggler in the face with the aerosol can, which is reminiscent of what happened the last time. And he ends up hitting the skull-crushing finale onto Ziggler to pick up the win. So The Miz is still using his cheating ways to retain his title. He is on this tour, he says, of bringing the Intercontinental title back to the prominence that it deserved to have. And he is the champion, and looks like he's going to stop at nothing in any way by means necessary to retain his title. So we have now seen The Miz yet again use an aerosol can to spray Ziggler in the eyes and get the skull-crushing finale for the win. So The Miz does have his title and remains the WWE Intercontinental Champion. Up next, we see the return of Randy Orton. Randy Orton takes on Aaron Rowan, which is coming back here. It was basically a short match, because they're still having to be careful with Orton. He ends up hitting the RKO, and then we see out of nowhere, we see that Bray Wyatt makes his appearance. These two have been going back and forth the last few weeks. I'm looking forward to this feud. I like both guys. I'm a big Bray Wyatt fan and an Orton fan. I've always been an Orton fan. Bray Wyatt is one I like since he's come in. I like his character. If they just use him right, they can make a big deal out of him. And he's been in for 3 to 4 years now. He's not really challenged for a title per se, but it would be great to see him try to make that push to get a title sooner or later, no matter what title it is, which will be the Intercontinental title, if nothing else. I know it'll be great to have him as a world champion maybe one day. I'm a big fan of his, and if they get his character right, push him along, he'll be able to have that opportunity for that. But he ends up taunting on the Titantron. He cuts a promo to Randy Orton at the end of this matchup. Up now, we come to a women's SmackDown women's tag match. We have Naomi and Nikki Bella being the faces, and it's kind of a refreshing thing for both ladies to be faces. Nikki was kind of the heel when she was with the Bella twins and stuff, even though the fans somewhat cheer her. A lot of the internet wrestling community isn't too fond of Nikki Bella for her basically having the title as long as she did. As WWE wanted to prove a point with AJ Lee. Now they have Nikki Bella, whom they have hanged their hat on when it comes to the Diva/Women's division, even after all this time. Even their own show, spinoff from the Divas show. But we see that they take on Natty and Carmella. And it was just a good matchup here. Carmella's still new to the roster. But she is going to be a decent heel if they can just get her to talk. And that accent, I just can't. Like I've said before, I just can't listen to her commenting or talking. I just have to mute button until she quits. But Carmella ends up getting her team disqualified right away as she takes Nikki Bella out of the ring and attacks her on the outside, even though Natalya had Nikki in a sharpshooter at the time. So as you see, there's some, even though they were a tag team, Carmella's still trying to get on with her feud with Nikki Bella as they've been continuing it since Carmella made her debut. Now, mind you, there was also a matchup earlier on Didn't mean to leave it out, but I'll mention it now. It was a matchup which it really wouldn't have mattered anyway. But earlier in the night, we see two of NXT's finest, having a matchup against each other now. Both of them are on the main roster, and both they really haven't pushed, really haven't done much with. I'd rather see them do something with them, give them a push on SmackDown, which we've seen the Lone Wolf, Baron Corbin taking on Apollo Crews. Apollo Crews just needs to get real serious. I mean, he's too smiley. Reminds me a lot of Lashley. Lashley just did not have that sound to his voice that was intimidating. He didn't have that look. I mean, Brock, he needs to take on Brock. Just get that mean, mad look and that harshness and that harsh talking and just not care and just go through people. I would respect him a lot more, but he's just like this happy-go-lucky guy. Like, hey, I'm in the ring. Hey, I'm making a matchup. Hey, I'll wrestle good or not. Win or lose, I'm still good. I'm happy. And that's not the perception that you're going to get over with the wrestling fans when you do that. So, Baron Corbin, Jack Swagger, oddly enough, was at ringside for commentary during this match. Remember now, Jack Swagger came over last week because his contract with Raw had expired, and so now he's a part of the Blue Brand. So we see he is a commentary because he came out to the ring, as you remember, and stared down Baron Corbin last week, and Baron Corbin basically left. So he's out watching this matchup between the two, and Corbin ended up hitting the End of Days on Apollo Crews, and they looked at him and Swagger looked eye to eye. They stared at each other after the matchup. So it looks like we're going to see a feud between Jack Swagger and Baron Corbin take place. But Apollo Crews just has to get something going on with him. He's going to end up falling by the wayside, being a low card instead of a mid carder at best if they don't do something with him and him get his promo work. He just is too happy. He just doesn't seem ruthless enough. He could be. I mean, the dude could be that, but it's just the way I'm not too fond of his character right now. So hopefully they can give something work. But last but not least, we have a matchup of, as we've seen, there's been a lot of tension within the WWE World Title spot lately with AJ Styles, with John Cena, with Dean Ambrose. Every one of those three guys have been kind of going back and forth with each other. So tonight's matchup, we have Dean Ambrose, the former champion, taking on the former champion, John Cena. And this was a good matchup, if you could say that, between Cena and Ambrose. A win comes when Ambrose actually manages to reverse the attitude adjustment into a sunset flip roll up for the pin. So here now we have him basically getting the win over John Cena. So oddly enough, John Cena's gets pinned. So I see John Cena now kind of more or less being a part-time transitional wrestler to putting these guys over, which I applaud him for that. I will respect him for that if that's what he's going for. Maybe he gets the title one more time. Maybe he doesn't. But I do respect that he's trying to put this talent over because it's time for these new era guys to be. So we see Dean Ambrose does get the win over John Cena. And after the matchup, we see AJ Styles. He ends up attacking both Cena and Ambrose. And Daniel Bryan comes out and tells Styles that Ambrose would receive his world title rematch next week. And Styles is too happy, gets mad, yells at Daniel Bryan. And then he ends up, Ambrose catching AJ Styles, hitting the dirty deeds on him to end the show. So big things to happen next week's edition of SmackDown Live, happening with the rematch for the world title between Ambrose and AJ Styles. And this is how the show ends up, folks. So I hope you enjoyed it. This is the SmackDown Live recall with Bill Mack. And to everybody, take care. Like I said, if you like this video, like it. Drop a like on it, comment on it, subscribe to my channel if you like pro wrestling content. This is Pro Wrestling Unleashed, and I want all things wrestling content. I'll drop into it. So everyone, take care and stay focused. Until next time. And once again, this is Bill Mack. Take it easy, folks.